With some time passing and the 2021 draft being in the books, it is my time to give you my draft review for the Carolina Panthers. You're listening to Money in the Bank. And before we get into today's video, man, let's take a look at it, man. Take a look at the details, baby. It's all about the details, man. Look, I picked this up from Locker Room CLT. If you want the best, the best vintage wear in the Carolinas, Locker Room CLT is the way to go. They have University of North Carolina, North Carolina State, Duke, South Carolina, Clemson gear, Carolina Panthers gear, and Charlotte Hornets. Look here. If you need the best vintage gear in the Carolinas, Locker Room CLT is the way to go. And telling your boy sent you. So with the 8th overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select J.C. Horn. And while a lot of people were upset that we didn't draft the quarterback, J.C. Horn was the best defensive player coming out of this draft, and he rightfully fell to the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers added a defensive back that can now take over the cornerback one role and be a starter and a lockdown type of guy. Look, he may not be that as early as we may want him to be, because rookie corners do have a tough time adjusting into this league, but he's a guy that for the long term will be a star at this position. And if the Carolina Panthers really want to take that next step, adding help to that secondary was the way to go. Right now, your front seven seems to be chugging along and having great pass rushers like a Brian Burns. Now with adding Hassan Reddick and adding the other defensive line talent, the next best thing for Carolina to do is lock up the back end. And right now, J.C. Horn is the guy that can fit that role. Lockdown corners don't come every year or a dime a dozen, man. You better find them, and if you find them, you better hold on to them dearly. Lockdown guys like J.C. Horn aren't guys that you take lightly. And I know a lot of people start to speak on, well, he doesn't fit our system. We didn't have a system last year. Last year, the system was don't get beat deep, don't get beat over the top, and it still happened. This is the guy that you change your system for and formulate it around in hopes to become a top-tier defense. Look at what the Buccaneers did last year. A lot of press, a lot of man-to-man. They beat up a lot of teams on the way to win the Super Bowl. So, if you're Carolina, you take that same method, add a guy like J.C. Horn that's a dog, has a dog mentality, and go win you some football games. Now, let's keep this thing moving to the second round. Now, with the second round pick, the Panthers selected Terrace Marshall, wide receiver, LSU. And I will admit, I was not the biggest fan of this pick. Only because I don't understand, at least for me, I was looking to replace what Curtis Samuel brought to the offense last year because it worked seamlessly. And it would still work in no matter how much film you got on that, you got players like Curtis Samuel, they're going to make plays. And if you continuously add that talent, you're going to continuously make big plays offensively. Terrace Marshall's a guy that is just more of a vertical threat. He's a kind of like a one-line type of guy. Not as twitchy, not as east and west type of movement as much as Curtis Samuel is. But again, I think he's a guy that can add great value in the red zone for us, something that we haven't had in quite some time, really since Devin Funchess, and he even wasn't what we thought he could be. So, but Terrace Marshall running a 4.4, he has all the athleticism. Hopefully Joe Brady knows how to incorporate him into this offense, and he excels. But I will admit, this was not the pick I was the most giddy about. Now with the third round pick, the Panthers select offensive tackle from BYU, Brady Christensen. Now, this is a guy that has been pegged as one of the best pass blocking tackles to come out of this class. And to get him in the third round, after you pick up a corner, you pick up a wide receiver, and if you're able to pick up a starting left tackle in the third round, the Carolina Panthers would have won this draft by a mile. I said it before, and I'll say it again. He's a guy that if he can come in and help protect that left side, because it's important that the Panthers protect Sam Darnold. No matter how you feel about Sam Darnold, the one thing he's lacked, and pretty much every year he's been in the league, is protection. If the Panthers can't give it to him, I can't expect him to take that next step and be a playoff level quarterback, or just hell, even a competent one at that. So for Carolina, hopefully you got your guy. He seems to me to fit the bill of what an elite left tackle looks like, or at least a guy that has a solid career. I'll be the first to admit, and I always admit it, I am not the biggest on evaluating offensive line talent. So I'll leave it up to the rest of you guys. But I think the Brady Christensen pick was a win. With the 83rd overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select Tommy Tremble, tight end, Notre Dame. Now, this guy here pretty much is going to fill the role that Chris Manhurst left behind as a blocking tight end, but he's got all the physical tools to be an elite tight end for years to come. With the physical, with the willingness to want to block, that's the one thing. It's the one key. With the willingness to want to block, the size and the speed. If you can develop his pass catching abilities, he can be a George Kittle-esque type player. I won't say he'll be George Kittle because it's tough to have a guy level to an all-pro standard, but he's a guy that can add great value for Carolina, and hopefully him and Sam Darnold can build a rapport, because one thing that young quarterbacks always seem to lean on when they're struggling or if things are not there is the tight end. Hopefully Tommy Tremble can become that and develop. Biggest thing here is going to be development, because this is going to be on the coaching staff, hopefully, to make this guy work. And if so, it's a win. But for right now, it's still a question mark heading into the 2021 season. So with the 4th round pick, courtesy of Matt Rule's wife, the Panthers select Chuba Hubbard, running back, Oklahoma State. Chuba Hubbard is a very explosive running back, a guy that was a prolific running back in college, but I just don't know if he'll translate over to the league. As Tyler told us on the podcast this past week, Chuba Hubbard is one of those guys that's not great going east and west. He's more of a one-read type of running back, and if that's all he's going to be, I don't know how that translates to the NFL, because at no point can any running back be a one-read type of guy and excel in this game. I think Chuba Hubbard is going to have a rough time beating out Rodney Smith for the backup running back role. Reggie Bonifant, from what I know, is still on the roster. I could be wrong. We'll go back and fact check that later. But I think Rodney Smith is probably RB2 heading into the season. Chuba Hubbard, probably a special teams guy for the time being. Unless injuries happen, he'll get his opportunity. But this could be a pick that maybe I'm wrong about. Hopefully I am. Hopefully all these guys are his, but in reality, we know we're going to miss on a few. But Chuba Hubbard, a solid pick for the time being. Now in the 5th round, the Panthers select Davion Nixon, defensive tackle, Iowa. Now this pick is a pick I am very excited about. Last year, Jeremy Chin was a pick that I was excited about after I watched the tape on him and thought about the possibilities of what he could do. He was just that. Now, Davion Nixon, a guy that may not be as mentally there, meaning the light may not click mentally for him, but physically, great hands, great feet, knows how to get to the quarterback, knows how to get into the backfield, and that's all you can ask for. He's a guy that he's see ball, get ball, and those are just football players. Those are guys we just call football players, man. You just play the game and you make it and you make things happen. I think he's a guy that can be an elite talent. He's all the skills to be an elite talent in this league. Possible All-Pro, Pro Bowl level guy to put alongside Derrick Brown for the future. I think this is similar to what we had in KK, Kawan Short, and Star Latulele. Back when we had those two guys there that hunkered down and anchored the interior of our defense, made us an elite front seven. Those are the guys you got to have in order to really compete in this league long term. Now Jones from Tennessee that we picked up in free agency, he will be the starter going into the year. I think Nixon hopefully can work his way into a rotational role alongside Bravion Roy, and the Panthers rock out on the defensive side of the ball. So with the next pick, the Panthers selected Keith Taylor, defensive back, Washington University. Now this is a pickup that can pay off, and I think this is a pickup that you start to see what the type of mode they're kind of going for here. They want bigger, physical guys on the outside. Scott Fitterer, being from Seattle, seems to want to take that mold and bring it to Carolina. Guys that can get their hands on the football, and guys that, they can press up and just be physical. That's what we're looking for here. And Keith Taylor is a guy that doesn't have great ball skills, so he won't be getting many interceptions for you. But he is a guy that I think can be cornerback number 2 in the right system. I think he's going to have to develop. I think the best thing for him this year is that A.J. Bouye is on the roster. Now, Bouye will miss a few games because of suspension. And your hopes is that he doesn't have to play early. Your hopes is that he can work on developing this year. Your hopes is that the preseason is good for him and he has a lot of growth during that span. And that's what you want to take and move forward with. I think the Panthers may have, I won't say this is a steal. Every pick is not a steal, but I do think this is a good value pick in the 5th round. A guy that was rated higher coming out of school and coming out of the Senior Bowl than most people had him than where he went. So maybe it's one of those things where he got lost in the shuffle, and maybe he is a better talent than what his pick may tell about it. Next, the Panthers select Deontay Brown, guard from the University of Alabama. Now, this is a guy that is he may not fit from what I've been told. In a zone blocking scheme, Deontay Brown won't flourish, and that was coming from our draft analyst Tyler Herbersky. So I can't do much but agree. The talent's there, the size is there. Can he help you in the run game? Absolutely. But can he be but is he an every down type of guy for us? I don't know. I think this may be a pick that you just notice because it's going to be a project pick, but the talent at that point, this late in the draft, was just too much to pass up on. And so the Panthers selected him, so I'll leave it at that. Next, in the 6th round, 204th overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select Shi Smith from the University of South Carolina. Now, this pick here, alongside Davion Nixon, are my 2 favorite picks because Shi Smith was a guy I had graded as a 4th round type of player. I thought the Panthers would wait to go get a receiver at the 4th or 5th round. That's why I was surprised about Terrace Marshall. And when we drafted Terrace Marshall, I was like, damn, maybe Shi's off the board for Carolina. But he wasn't, and the Panthers picked him up. Had a great Senior Bowl week being coached by Matt Rule. Matt Rule saw something that he liked. The Panthers will bring him in. He is a guy that fits that Curtis Samuel type of mold. Explosive, athletic, tough and gritty. Is willing to go over the middle. I think he's a guy that's gonna have to earn. Of course, he's gonna have to earn his keep. But I think he's a guy that the Panthers know that they may have picked up something very nice as far as moving towards the future because of what the receiving room right now is currently at, like financially. He will be a guy that I think can play a big part for Carolina. Look, expect great things from Shi Smith. Expect him to definitely have a meteoric rise up the depth chart by the end of the season too. Stay put, stay alert. Now for the next 2 picks, we have a long snapper and a defensive tackle. I won't spend much time on these 2 guys. Look, J.J. Jackson's still here, so I don't know what happens with Thomas Fletcher. Phil Hoskins, I won't lie, this is where I stopped looking. But again, congratulations to these guys. Hope they have a great career with Carolina or just anywhere in the league for that matter. And that closes out our 2021 draft. Now, overall for this draft class, I am happy with what we accomplished. Look, I mean, a lot of us thought we were still at play for a quarterback. We weren't. They believe in Sam Darnold. Hopefully, he turns out to be the guy that everybody hopes he can be. But for Carolina, I'll grade this draft class currently at a B. A B, because there are some picks that kind of make you scratch your head, like Chuba Hubbard, Deontay Brown, guys that don't really fit anything. Keith Taylor's still a question mark. Tommy Tremble's a question mark. So you have guys that just don't really fill any necessary needs right now. They have to be developed, and because of that, when I draft guys, I kind of hope they can come in and play right now. We have quite a few guys that are going to be developmental guys. So with that being the case, a B is about the best I can do. But again, you've been listening to Money in the Bank. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and be sure to check out the Panthers Nation podcast on the P1N network. It's your boy Shontis Stewart, and